Thank you, Jody. Good morning, everybody. Before we begin, I would like to take the time to acknowledge that we're gathered today on the traditional, ancestral, unceded Demulao of the Central Okanagan people who have resided here since time immemorial. This is now the 7th press conference in response to the wildfires impacting the Central Okanagan region. As always, thank you for being here today. I'm joined today by BC Wildfire Service, Chief Brolin of West Kelowna, and Chief Zidovich from Wilson's Landing here in person and not online, so welcome, as well as Chief Whiting from the City of Kelowna. I want to begin by thanking all of you for your patience yesterday as our EOC team tested and prepared the new online tool for property damage notification. This is a new tool that our staff have worked on diligently over the last week, and we understand there's been immense time building it, and we understand it went down shortly yesterday, but that was due to a high demand, and we thank you for bearing with us while we work through that process. We know it wasn't easy waiting. For some of you, yesterday brought relief, while others, the news was devastating. As our EOC Director, Sally Ginter, said yesterday, we did not make the decision to release information online lightly. We know that as hard it is to learn, this was the information that homeowners wanted to know as soon as possible. I want to take a moment to express my deepest condolences to each and every person who lost their home. The shock, grief, and uncertainty you're feeling is valid. Please know that you are not alone in this, and as a regional community, we're there with you. There is support available for those who are struggling right now. Please visit heretohelp.bc.ca for more information. While we've accomplished a great deal over the past few days, we still need your patience as we ensure areas are safe for you to return home to. You've heard it before, and I'll say it again, this is going to take time. But we've already seen several evacuation orders downgraded to alerts and expect to see more in coming days. We need everyone to continue to stay up to date on the status of alerts and orders and stay out of evacuated areas unless advised otherwise. I think most people have heard now that information is readily available at cordemergency.ca. For those of you in the areas hardest hit by the fire, you will be on evacuation order longer. I understand this is frustrating, but be assured that we are committed to consistent communication and unwavering support. We have worked diligently in partnership with the province to ensure we can continue to support you through this time. We have increased capacity and supports at with our ESS volunteers, and we're hopeful that that will reduce wait times. As a reminder, if you self-register online for ESS, it will be the fastest way for you to get support. You can register online with your BC service card at ess.gov.bc.ca. That address again is ess.gov.bc.ca. The difficult days are certainly not behind us, but I am confident that in our collective resilience, this will guide us forward. United as a region, we will recover, rebuild, and restore. I'll now pass it along to our subject matter experts. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Wooldridge. Litke from BC Wildfire.
Good morning. Give you a quick situation report here of the Grouse Complex. So today, total wildland firefighters are 211. On the fire ground, total structural firefighters 176, and other operational single resources 25, for a total of 412, which you will note is a reduction from yesterday, which I'll get into further. Total aircraft assigned to the complex is 17, and total heavy equipment pieces from our contracting community 34. So over the complex, significant progress was made, particularly on the east branch, which comprises of the two fires, Walroy Lake and Clark Creek. Through the significant efforts of the fireground personnel and the hard work, BC Wildfire Service, along with Transport Canada and the Kelowna International Airport, were able to reduce the air space restrictions over those two fires with the hopes of having Kelowna International Airport resume normal operations. For weather today, over the last 12-hour period, ending yesterday at 1300 hours, August 23rd, 7.2 millimeters of rainfall at Fintry was recorded, 2.0 millimeters at the West Kelowna weather station, and 1.5 millimeters on the north branch of the fire, all of which is going to assist us in our progress. Temperatures should remain a little cooler today, reaching projected highs of up to 20 degrees Celsius with relative humidity values reaching 40 to 50%. Sunny skies with lighter north and northeasterly winds 8 to 12 kilometers an hour with gusts up to 25. Climbing temperatures and lower relative humidity moving towards the weekend we are expecting to see an increase in fire behavior in the grouse complex fires. Specifically to the McDougall Creek, fires currently out of control at a size of 12,318 hectares. The fire cause is still under investigation, but know that we have BC Wildfire Service investigators, compliance and enforcement with linkages into the RCMP, and that's ongoing. Resources today, 17 helicopters, 27 structural protection personnel, 10 firefighters, and the RCMP were working last night. And today on the fire ground, we have 95 firefighters, 20 single resources, 117 structural personnel working alongside BC Hydro, RCMP, in order to secure the areas and reduce any hazards due to hydro concerns with downed or impacted power lines. If the weather conditions warrant today in the McDougall Creek wildfire, BC Wildfire crews are hoping to complete a hand ignition in the northwest of Shannon Lake Golf Course. The crews have spent the last 2 days preparing hose lines and handguards to address the pockets of unburned fuel on the steep slopes that could challenge containment in the future, when fire behavior conditions are expected to increase in the coming days. This is important work to ensure that that fuel isn't going to be able to take a run at our guards. The operation will bring the fire into more operable terrain for the firefighters as well. In addition to this planned ignition, an ignition operation could also be conducted above the Smith Creek drainage today. That's if conditions warrant, the weather conditions. Overnight, crews were patrolling from Shannon Heights to Bartley Road, as well as pushing west to support the heavy equipment line that we're trying to install above Smith Creek. To the Walroy Lake fire. That fire, good news there is we've updated the fire status to being held as of an hour ago. Current fire size is 794 hectares. We have 2 operational command staff, 55 firefighters, and working alongside the Kelowna Fire Department and additional structural personnel of 89 in total. Firefighters are starting to demobilize the structural protection equipment on the buildings on the east branch of this complex, those 2 fires starting today. Crews will be working to establish and continue to establish the 100-foot black line of which I spoke to yesterday by end of shift today. This fire is also under investigation, and we currently do have BC Wildfire Service fire cause investigators on the ground as well. Clark Creek, another good news story here. We've placed the Clark Creek wildfire now into being held status as of 0900. Fire size is estimated at 370 hectares, so no growth. On the ground today, we've got 3 command staff, 51 firefighters, and 32 structure protection personnel from the Lake Country Fire Department and surrounding communities. Firefighters are starting again on this fire as well to demobilize structural protection equipment on buildings, including on the north flank of this wildfire. With that, that's my update for you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. If we could please ask West Kelowna Fire Chief Jason Rowland.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. This is operational period number 16 for us. I'd like to start by expressing again my sympathy to all of those who have lost in this event. I understand yesterday was a very difficult day, but I'm here to provide as much information as I can and let all of you who are out there wondering behind the scenes on some of our operations. An incident of this scale, there's no undo button. This is just not going to go away. It's only through hard work and perseverance on all of our parts that we're going to get through this thing, and we are. Just like we said, the evacuation order rescinds are continuing. There'll be more to come today and more in the future days. The weather right now is in our favor, although we're always anticipating that may change. There are so many people who are working on this. It's not just emergency services anymore. The recovery component of this incident is growing by the moment. But we will get the job done on the ground. BC Wildfire Service is working hard at that along with us, and also they're working hard from the air as well. I want to make it clear though, we still are firefighting in many of these neighborhoods. We're chasing down hotspots, we're dealing with smoke and what could potentially be flames and even larger issues. And along those notes, I want to reiterate what Brad Litke had said earlier, that there is a burn-off operation, at least one, maybe more, that will be taking place when conditions allow. I suspect that one may have already commenced, and it's going to be visible. People are going to see it, and they're going to think that things are getting worse again, and they're not. As Brad Litke mentioned, it's actually part of making things better. Alongside that operation, I want to assure the public that not only are the BC Wildfire Service experts involved in designing and executing it, but we have one of the largest structural fire departments in the country assembled in the base of that neighborhood, ready to protect the homes and deploy as required. I'm not expecting to have to use it, but we have this tremendous force at our disposal, and they're standing by. Getting this work done is critical to getting people home and beginning to wind this incident up. So don't be scared, don't be worried when you see the smoke. See it as a sign of really expert people doing good work to get you home. I'm going to repeat my ask from yesterday about calls to 911. If you see smoke or a glow or small flames within the fire area, within the perimeter of the fire, we know about those. We have aircraft in the air, we have people on the ground patrolling. We don't need those reported to 911. What we do need reported to 911 is any smoke or fire outside of the fire perimeter, or a large amount of smoke and fire that is unexpected. Those are indicators that we need to get on those things. So please balance those calls and only be making them when they're necessary. So a very common question that we're all getting is, when is my neighborhood going home? I don't have a crystal ball to tell you that, although I can repeat some of the factors that I mentioned yesterday that go into making these decisions. First and foremost, the neighborhood that you're returning to needs to be safe. The fire needs to be out. We need to have addressed debris and hazards. The neighborhood needs to be protected with either mop-up and extinguishment completed, and perhaps even a fire guard in place. We need to make sure it's secure and that you have a travel route to get in and out of your neighborhood. We're also looking at utilities and making sure that there's water sufficient enough in the fire hydrants to fight a house fire in that neighborhood that may be completely unrelated to the incident. We need to address the risk and make sure there's no chance of things getting worse, because I don't want to have to evacuate anyone a second time. And finally, we need to look at impact to our operations. We can't have neighborhoods in place when we're still looking at doing these burn-off operations. It just is not conducive to that. We have lots of equipment on the ground and we need the space to do it. So all of those factors go into that. Primarily across my jurisdiction at this point, there's two main reasons why we're continuing to keep people out of their homes. The first is because there's still fire in your neighborhood and or significant damage from fire in your neighborhood. And the second reason is that there is the risk still of fire. And we're still not wanting to put you back in because we don't want to make it worse with you in there. The weather is going to drive those factors. There may still be firefighting activities going on in your neighborhood and or sprinkler protection on your house. So those are the primary reasons why many of you are still out. I don't want to speculate on numbers or timeframes. There are large neighborhoods that we continue to draw closer and closer to getting back home. But there are also neighborhoods where it's going to be a little while, and particularly those that have sustained significant fire damage. We're working through how do we really make those safe for you to go home. So just ongoing patience. There will be every day. It's the topic of discussion, and there will be more rescinds coming. So on a lighter note, a couple of things. I do want to say I'm doing fine for underwear. Thank you for those who've sent it. Please don't feel that that's what I need because it's not. It leads me to want to thank the public for their outpouring of support. It really is the fuel that keeps us all going. Being able to read your comments and the cards that you've dropped off and see the signs outside the fire hall is what fuels my men and women, as well as all of the men and women who are involved. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to say I know the pig in Bear Creek Road North area is getting a lot of attention. My fire crews have adopted him or her. So it's being well fed, it's being well watered. And is just happy as a pig could be there. So based on improving fire conditions, we working with our partners at the Wildfire Service, were able to arrange for the demobilization of structural resources. 32 fire engines were sent back to their communities over the last 24 hours. The public needs to see that as a positive sign. I don't have any unmet needs in that department. I actually need to be looking at returning these men and women to the communities that they came from. So as I do that, I wish to thank them and the fire chiefs who have compromised in order for them to be here. That said, on the structural fire side today, we have 23 trucks out in the field, and it represents 117 people still working on the ground. A number of those trucks, by no means the majority, actually just a small number of those trucks are from your very own West Kelowna fire rescue firefighters who will be the last ones off the line. That's what they told me. So along those lines, and because our base will be moving to a different location, there will be no fire truck parade tonight. So I want to let the public know you won't see the fire trucks where you're used to seeing them any longer. They'll be moving to a location that's a little bit more efficient and a little bit more better suited to the operation. But I do want to say just how overwhelming that has been to everyone who's operated off of that site on Old Okanagan Highway. Seeing like hundreds of you come out and cheer on the firefighters, again, is the fuel that keeps them going. But please don't come tonight because it's going to be a very quiet place. We know that you're behind us because we hear your honks, we see your thank yous, and please keep that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Rowland.
Good morning. My name is Paul Zidovich. I'm the chief at Wilson's Landing Fire. This fire has been and continues to be a fire chief's nightmare. The force, speed, and intensity of the fire is unprecedented in our community. 2 years ago, as we worked the White Rock Lake fire, we thought at the time that it was the biggest fire of our lives. It pales to what we just experienced. I'd like to thank all the men and women that have come from all over the BC and Alberta to help us. They have been instrumental in the success we're achieving. Currently, we have 2 task forces, BC Wildfire crews, North Westside crews, and Wilson's Landing crews, along with aircraft and support personnel. I'd also like to thank the members of Wilson's Landing Fire Department that I've had the immense honor of serving with. Our community has suffered an incredible blow. 13 of our members have lost homes. Yet from the very first spark, you've shown up and fought this fire while your own homes were burning behind you. I have no words to describe the pride that I feel to be part of this team. I also need to thank Chief Koczorowski and Deputy Chief Barnes with their crews from North Westside for the ongoing mutual aid and support they have provided on this event. Lastly, I'd like to thank our incredible community for the support we've received. From residents dropping off supplies to mamas and mamas coordinating an immense relief effort for our displaced members. Fire activity has been low for 48 hours. BC Wildfire has installed a machine guard and is completing a backburn to create a larger guard. Sprinkler crews are on scene and protecting structures, and crews are eliminating hotspots and sources of ignition and fire smarting. I want to take a moment today to express my deepest condolences to everyone that have lost their homes. When I say we're with you, know that I mean it. We understand the pain and grief that you're feeling because we're feeling it too. Know that this is what is driving us every single day as we work to protect homes and make sure areas are safe for you to return to. Myself, Chief Koczorowski, and the rest of our crews will be out there every day fighting for this community. I know you're tired of hearing it, we're tired of saying it, but we need your patience. We do not want to send anyone back into the area that is unsafe, and it is still unsafe. As soon as it is safe to return home, we will let you know. And for those that lost homes, we will continue to support you through emergency support services to find long-term accommodation and find you the support that you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. If you could please have Travis Whiting, Kelowna Fire Chief.
Good morning. First off, just following up, our thoughts continue to be with those fighting the fire over on the west side of the road as they continue to deal with the loss over there. On this side of the lake, we've been fortunate to be at a different stage of the fire, and very happy to hear Incident Commander Brad Litke let us know that our fire is being held within the city of Kelowna and in Lake Country. So that's great news. It's excellent news, and if you were to ask me on Thursday or Friday of last week, I didn't think we would be here at this point, but I just want to put out my appreciation for BC Wildfire, the many structural departments that attended, and our own crews from Kelowna Fire Department that have spent the last 7 days dug in deep working to carry this forward. And you'll continue to see Kelowna Fire working in conjunction with BC Wildfire to patrol neighborhoods, work in the fire areas to continue to finish this off and make it safe for everybody. So I just want to put out that thank you to all those involved, and a shout out to my own crews from here in Kelowna Fire for the excellent work they continue to do through the night and day. Great news for us on this portion of the lake for the McKinley-Clifton fire, or Walroy Lake, as Brad called it. If it's in the city of Kelowna with the fire that we're dealing with now, it is our goal today to get everyone home by the end of today. It's great news. We're hoping to have evacuation orders reduced within all areas within the city of Kelowna specifically. And I just want to be clear, that's just within the city of Kelowna on the McKinley-Clifton fire. But it's going to take a bit of time and some logistics, and our number one priority through today is safety. Safety of responders and safety of the people returning home. We have had the fire held, but we still have some issues within the fire perimeter, including danger trees and such, that we need to do a sweep and ensure that we've made the home safe for you to return to. So the process that will happen today is we will be using courtemergency.ca, and it's critical that people that are in these areas go to courtemergency.ca, where we will be announcing neighborhood by neighborhood the areas that are safe to return to, as our crews work through each neighborhood, determining that they are safe to return and that all of our equipment and resources have been moved out of the way for you. It's important that you not return home until courtemergency.ca lets you know that, where we want to avoid any unnecessary traffic congestion or people in the way while we try to move resources and get these neighborhoods open. So if we could ask you to show this last piece of patience for us as we work through today and potentially into tomorrow to get everyone home. We want to do a systemic way of doing this where it is deemed to be safe. So again, courtemergency.ca. There's a few steps that we want people to be aware of as you return home, because you're not returning home to the same neighborhood that you left. Fire has burned in very close to a lot of these homes, right into the backyards, and there are some steps we need you to take to ensure that you're doing so safely. First off, we need people to stay out of natural areas and parks within the fire perimeter area until we have reopened those areas. We have crews that will be working over the next week or two doing danger tree assessments and safety checks to ensure that we can get those open as soon as we can, but we really need cooperation of the public to stay out of those areas and let our crews work. We will be falling trees, we will be undertaking actions, and having residents in there will make us stop our work and delay further openings. You'll also find information on courtemergency.ca under resources on what it is to return to a home if you've been away for an extended period of time and in some areas where power was disrupted. Issues such as spoiled food, power and water restoration, and other situations that occur to ensure that you're returning safely. This is really exciting news. I can tell you at the fire hall, the mood is very, very high and very, very positive this morning. It has been our goal for the last 7 days to get all our residents home safely, and we couldn't be more excited to see this happen today. So again, courtemergency.ca, super excited. We're going to get everyone home tonight, and that's a big deal. So stay in touch, stay in tune, take care of each other, and yeah, we'll do our best to get you home tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whiting. As the Public Information Officer here this morning, I've also been asked to bring some information about the Emergency Support Services Program. They want me to let everybody know that people who have self-registered online or in person with ESS have now had their accommodations extended until August 30th. And thanks to the incredible coordination of BCHA and the province of BC and the EOC. It was a group effort to make that all happen online at this time. They also wanted to sincerely thank the hotels here in the region who have been through a lot, as you can expect, over the last couple of weeks, for providing continued support, which we understand has been a challenge for many of them with their own employees who have also, in many cases, been evacuated or on alert. For evacuees who may be in the area where orders are being rescinded or downgraded, you are no longer eligible for extensions of ESS. Those who are eligible and or need longer-term supports through the province are, for their primary residents, are still under evacuation order if they've sustained significant loss, if you can't get back to your home for some reason in an area that's still under order. EOC is supporting the coordination between ESS Operations Branch and the recovery team. This will be to ensure a smooth transition into the recovery phase, where they'll work with the province to ensure those who are still not able to return home to their primary residence have an assessment done for long-term accommodation and supports. For those eligible for long-term supports, there will be a reminder that you should receive faster service if you go to the BC Services Card app. This will verify your profile in the evacuee registration and assistance tool used by ESS to do e-transfers. Evacuees shouldn't need to go to the reception center and should only do so if they're able to get support through the unable to get support through the Provincial ESS Information Centre. So that's a 1-800 number. Again, it'll be on our on the Court Emergency website, and that number is 1-800-585-9559. So that's for the Provincial ESS Emergency Information Centre. And just a reminder, because there have been some changes around long-term lodging, but the reception centres where you need to go for support specifically if you have to do it in person are Royal LePage Place on Cameron Road in West Kelowna, Cal Tire Place on 43rd Avenue in Vernon, Princess Margaret Secondary School at Green Avenue West in Penticton, and all of those reception centres are open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Pardon me, other way around. 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. That's the end of our presentations for today. I wanted to point out, as per usual, that we'll take questions with one question of follow-up, coordinated between the room and the mics. We do also have Mayor Blair Ireland, Mayor Tom Diaz, and Mayor Gord Milsom also available for questions if needed. And after our question session, people will also be available if they can in the foyer. So with that, is there questions today? If you can step to the mic here.
Hi, Rob Gibson with Castanet. I guess this is for you, Tom. Is the airport going to open?
I think it was touched upon a little bit with the fire chief's comments, but it is something that they're working on at this particular point in time. And it, as we know, the importance of being the BC Wildfire and their flight pass that they need to make certain that everything is secure on this side of the lake, which it obviously is advancing with everyone going home. But it is in constant conversation with NAV Canada to open that airport. But I know there's controlled flights that come in on certain patterns and will be, but it is not fully open at this point in time. And the hope and expectation is that it will be by the weekend.
I got one for you. We've been getting questions about the water quality in West Kelowna, lots of chlorine, those kinds of things. Do you have a statement for the folks who have been able to go home? Maybe they've been there for a day or so, and they're kind of dealing with that. And what your timeline might be before things get back to a little bit normal.
Yeah, good question. As far as I'm aware, we're still under a do not consume directive for the Rose Valley, West Kelowna Estates areas, and I know our staff are working on it. I'm anxious to hear, but unfortunately I can't give you an update at this time. I don't know if our fire chief has anything else to add at this time. No. But hopefully that will be resolved soon. I know we're working at it along with Interior Health, so that's all I can say at this time. Thank you.
Haley, it looks like we have a question online. Yep, so Rob Monroe, you can unmute your mic and ask your question.
Yes, it's Rob Monroe from EdenTwinNews.ca, and this would be for Chief Zajdowski. Hope I pronounced that relatively correctly.
Zidovich. Thank you.
Zidovich. Oh, sure. That's why I'm not in radio.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm muted on me again. Chief, you were saying that this, compared to the White Rock Lake Fire, was no comparison. This was so much worse. Can you talk a bit more in what ways this was worse and what it was like being out there in the middle of all this?
With White Rock, we had the opportunity to prepare. This fire started on Wednesday and was in my community 24 hours later or less. Although we had vehicles staged and prepared for most of the day on Thursday for its arrival, it came a lot faster than anyone expected, and it came with a ferocity that none of us had ever seen. We were in Traders Cove preparing for spotting, and Traders Cove basically exploded around us. We are prepared in Wilson's Landing to deal with a structure or two on fire at one time. We were dealing with 10 to 15 on fire within 5 to 10 minutes of ignition. So that was pretty much the comparison between the two, the speed and then the violence of it all.
Thank you, Chief. Rob, did you have a follow-up question?
I did, and you referenced the 2 years ago. There was something in the neighborhood of 80 homes destroyed in Huey's Landing and Killeen Beach. 2 years later, how much of that is being rebuilt? I just want to give people some idea of how long it's going to take them to get their lives back together.
I'm not familiar with the exact numbers. There is definitely construction going on there and has been for a while. I don't go down to the north end of the lake that much. I don't know what the timeline is going to be for the rebuilding process.
Rob Monroe, that's something that you could phone to the regional district office afterwards, and we can get you the numbers around building permits if you like.
Thank you very much. And now we have somebody at the podium. You'll have to push the button in the middle there till the red light goes on.
Okay, Cassidy from Global News BC. Cassidy from Global News BC. I have a question around the housing supports from ESS. I don't know who's in the best place to ask, but we heard they're being extended until August 30th, some of them. What happens after that, as we know that rental demand and vacancy rates are already at record lows? Now we're going to be having, several hundred enter the market. Where do all of these people displaced go once the hotel accommodation dries up?
I don't have you the exact numbers for that. What I can tell you is that for the people that have lost their homes, the most important thing for them to do is to register now with ESS if they haven't already, and also to be in touch with the insurance companies. There are resources at courtemergency.ca that can help you to do that. And those are your accesses into getting some of that long-term support. They sit down with you, they do the assessments with you and work through it. And as far as the sort of bigger questions of where people will go, that is exactly what they would help work through with you. Haley, do we have one more question online?
We do. Thank you, Jody. Can I get Craig to unmute your microphone and ask your question? And if you can just say which outlet you're from as well. Thank you.
Hi, it's Craig calling from CTV News here in Vancouver. This question is for Chief Rowland. Based on our conversation yesterday during the presser, has the number of properties damaged increased during the inspections of the last 24 hours?
No. No, the number has not changed since yesterday. There's been no additional structures lost. However, that said, I expect that the number may fluctuate a small amount based on, on a property may have a couple of outbuildings that was lost, for example. So that number will continue to be refined, but at this point I can report no structures lost in the last 24 hours.
Craig, did you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Just some clarity on the Shannon Lake controlled fire. Is that expected to take place is that Friday or over the weekend? And maybe just more understanding what's going on there as well.
So the operation being done by BC Wildfire Service and their experts, it'll be done when it's safe and when it can be most effective. I believe it is in the process of happening right now.
Thank you. Did we have another question at the mic? You can step up.
My question's also for the West Kelowna Fire Chief, please. I'm with CGB News. I'm Abigail. I know you said you don't have a crystal ball. Lots of parents thinking about back to school time, if they're evacuated. Is that a reality? Should folks be planning, they might not return home before school starts?
So if this was a smaller area, I would be, comfortable speculating a little bit more. But because, we have evacuated such a wide area of our community, and there's been such a wide range of damage from complete destruction right up to completely saved. still with sprinklers hanging on the edge of the house. So it makes it very complicated to speculate. There will be some whose homes have been destroyed and they won't be returning at all until the home's rebuilt. There are others that will be going home this afternoon. So we're just asking people really to bear with us. Over the next few days, I expect we'll continue to return, numbers of people to their homes, and it should start to become much more clear to people, just which areas are damaged, and those areas are going to remain out for a time.
Do you have a follow-up question? I do, for the Kelowna Fire Chief, please. You got kind of emotional talking about returning people back to their homes tonight. Can you just, get into the relief that you're feeling?
Yeah, it's very real. Our job is to protect homes and property and the residents in this community, and our crews have the opportunity to see that result in people returning home today, and it is emotional for those impacted, and it's very emotional. We wear our hearts on our sleeves. I think you've seen that at this table over the last week, and it's why we do what we do, and we're impassioned about it, and the fact that we're returning people home today is very real for me, and it's very real for the crews.
Thank you. One more at the podium. Jules Knox, Global News. We're just looking for, I know we touched on the weather conditions today, we're expecting it to be better, but can we just get a little bit more idea or detail about what we're expecting for the fire as we go into this weekend?
I wish I would have brought the forecast with me, but we are expecting a high pressure system to build in, and with that typically comes warmer temperatures. I believe we're looking at low to mid 30s at the last report that I read, which wasn't this morning, and with that, typically with that solar energy, we'll see a reduction in the relative humidity. And when the relative humidity drops, it also drives the fire behavior. So our objectives during this sort of stability of cooler temps, higher relative humidity, and the little moisture that we've received is to try to build and install as much fire guard as we can, so that when the temperatures rebound and the fire behavior increases, we have more containment along the fire perimeter. So that's what we're looking to do.
And how concerned are you that this could be serious fire this weekend, or is everything feeling under control?
I wouldn't. No, it's not feeling under control. But we are certainly aware of it, and we're trying to prepare for it. There's still a lot of summer left, particularly in the Okanagan. Summer can extend well into September. The advantage is, as time ticks on, is that the days will slowly get shorter, which will slowly start closing the peak burning windows. So rest assured, we're planning for it. We're forecasting for it. We have meteorologists on staff. We're having spot forecasts specific to this fire ground. We have a fire behavior analyst that's embedded into the team that is watching the weather readings hourly and interpreting that into what we might see in regards to fire behavior, rates of spread, these types of things.
Thank you very much. Just had a clarification from Mayor Milsom, if you'd like to step to the microphone, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to just take a moment just to say that I had an opportunity to tour some of our neighborhoods with our fire chief yesterday, and it was really heart-wrenching to see some of the destruction. And I just wanted to express on behalf of myself and our city council our deepest sympathies for all those that have lost their homes. And I just want to let you know that you're not alone. We're here to help you now and in the months and years to come. Okay, so thank you. We're on your side, and I appreciate all the work being done by these teams of specialists and experts, firefighters. They've done a tremendous job. We've lost some homes, unfortunately, but we've saved thousands of homes. So thank you for your good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's it for today. Just a reminder again to be on courtemergency.ca today to find out about any of the orders or rescindments that are happening, and